Why doesn't God do something? The world is in a mess, so why doesn't God do something about it? That's a question asked by Christian and non-Christian alike. It seems to be a valid question, doesn't it? But it's actually the source of much confusion and misunderstanding. When bad things happen, many Christians attempt to explain it by saying things like, well, we can't always understand everything. After all, God's ways are higher than our ways, but we know that God is sovereign and that He makes all things work together for good. We just need to accept that He has a plan in all this. You've probably heard this sort of thing many times, and you may even have said something similar yourself. But is it true? Let's be frank, saying that all the terrible things that happen in the world, whether on a large scale or in our own personal lives, are somehow part of God's plan, is not much of an advertisement to the world of the loving God that we profess to believe in. Let's go to the Bible. In Luke's account of Jesus' temptation by Satan in the wilderness, Luke records how Satan showed Jesus all the kingdoms of the world and said, "To you I will give all this, for it has been turned over to me, and I give it to whomever I will." That was Luke 4:6 from the Amplified Bible Classic Edition. What does Satan mean by this? We know that he's a liar, but in this instance, he could not be lying. Why? Because if Satan was lying, Jesus would have known it, and it would not have been a temptation. So when were the kingdoms of the world turned over to Satan? Isn't God sovereign? The answer is not complicated, but it is a little more involved than the simplistic, well, God is sovereign. Yes, God is sovereign. There's no question about that. But as sovereign, he delegated to Adam authority over the earth. Man effectively has a lease on the earth of a set period of time. But we won't get into the details of this here. Instead, let's look at some verses that show that God gave dominion to mankind. Genesis 1:26. Let us make man in our image and after our likeness, and let them have dominion over all the earth. Genesis 1:28. God blessed them, and God said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. Psalm 8:6. Thou madest him, man, to have dominion over the works of thy hands. Thou hast put all things under his feet. Psalm 115:16. The heaven, even the heavens, are the Lord's, but the earth hath he given to the children of men. The Bible makes it very clear that God has delegated authority over the earth to man. So what made Satan think it belonged to him? When exactly was it turned over to Satan, as he claimed? Well, pretty early on, actually. When Adam sinned, he effectively bowed his knee to Satan, and in so doing gave Satan the authority that God had given to him. It was at that moment that Satan became the god of this world, as 2 Corinthians 4 verse 4 calls him. God had given Adam authority and the free will to use it. God was not going to take back that authority. That's not how God works. God had made an agreement with Adam, and God abides by what he has said, regardless of the consequences. It was Adam's right to give his authority to Satan, no matter how foolish and how traitorous this decision was. So far, it all seems to be bad news, doesn't it? Satan is legitimately the one in charge. But don't panic, there is some good news. God was not about to leave the earth and mankind under Satan's authority after Adam's sin, which is why immediately after Adam sinned, he put his plan of redemption into action. And in the fullness of time, God the Father sent Jesus the Son to redeem mankind. Without going into the whole plan of salvation here, through his death and resurrection, Jesus took back man's authority from Satan. In Matthew 28, verse 18, from the New Living Translation, Jesus said, "I have been given all authority in heaven and on earth." Jesus then went on to command his disciples, "Therefore go." In other words, Jesus was authorizing his disciples to go out and, in my name, cast out devils, in my name, lay hands on the sick, etc. The answer to the question, why doesn't God do something, is probably a surprise to many people. The answer is that it is us, as believers, who are the ones in charge here. It is us who should be doing something. Ephesians 1:22 says, "He has put all things under his feet and gave him to be the head over all things to the church." Jesus is the head, but the feet are part of the body of Christ, which is us. So it's high time that we learned how to use our authority. The devil may be ruling in many areas of your life, and he will continue to do so until you take authority over him. Until you do what Adam should have done and put Satan under your feet where he belongs. The devil seeks to intimidate you so that you're too scared to even think about putting him under your feet, so that you're too scared to take your authority. The devil has put up big keep out signs to stop us doing what God has commissioned us to do. He wants us to be scared of the deep water, scared of getting too deep into the things of God. But Daniel 2 verse 22 says, "He revealeth the deep and secret things." 1 Corinthians 2, 9-11 says, "Eye has not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for them that love him. But God has revealed them unto us by his Spirit, for the Spirit searcheth all things, yea, the deep things of God." There is nothing to be scared of. The deep things of God are where the best blessings are. We need to push those gates open and go in and take possession of the ground with the authority that is rightfully ours. We hope that you've enjoyed this devotional and that you've been blessed. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe.